Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to AVI Voice interview program. Today, we will continue our discussion from last week, which we will touch upon on the implication of the artificial intelligence and regulation to govern the AI deployment in every industry. And we will continue our discussion with our guest speaker, Dr. Ricardo Corrado, who is an associate professor at the School of Digital Technologies at the American University of Phnom Penh, and he is also a senior research fellow at the Asian Vision Institute AVI. Without further delay, let's get into our discussion. So we know that AI has been used as widely a new tool for people, human, to in their daily life, and it has become a default in every industry and all the workplace. For example, they use it as a new way for their operation. So I would like to know how the impact that AI implicate our everyday activities.
Well, let me. So again, this is an interesting question because it's trying to, that is what usually we always do, right? We try to understand when we have something new, a new tool, a new technology, what is really the impact of it? Once you are able to assess the impact of it, positive and negative, then you have some measure and you can take the decision. Now, this is complicated to measure simply because we are learning and we are developing as we go. But just to give you some numbers that are public number can be seen, they from a study, I think it was 2023, if I'm not mistaken, so I'm a few months later, but 37% of organizations have implemented AI, at least in the United States, 37%. This implementation means that it's implemented in some way. Some people think, okay, if a company or organization have implemented AI, everything is AI fueled, everything is powered by AI. No, it's not true. It's just maybe some implementation, but they are using it somehow. Then another one, statistics show that in the past 4 years, roughly, there was an increase of usage of AI equivalent to 270% growth. So here we are talking about a large growth. And another study, I forgot who did that, but I remember the number, and they say by 2025, 95% of the interaction with customers will be powered by AI, 95. So that means it almost entirely, all the interaction that me as a customer, you as a customer will have with an organization will be actually powered by AI behind. Again, powered by AI doesn't mean that you will talk with an automatic chatbot. It can be also you are talking with people, with a customer service, but the customer service officer will be using AI to facilitate the discussion, to predict what you want or what he or she should say to you, for example, to sell a product or to tell you what you really need or what you really are looking for. So that is quite striking to think that in 2025 is behind the corner, 95% of the interaction with customer will be powered by AI. So there is also other statistics that show how the numbers of, let's say, of the market behind AI, which means market means development, software development, but means also the application of AI in product and services, is reaching astronomical numbers in terms of billions of dollars. You know, when you hear billion, you already don't realize how big it is because we are accustomed to thousand, maybe millions. Billion is already, it's just a lot. But this statistic to me, they show the implication on where we are going in terms of market, and also give another interesting insight. It gives an interesting insight to countries, policymakers, that and also companies, so let's say ecosystem, that if we are not, and when we talk we, I'm talking about governments, I'm talking about organization, I'm talking about even universities. If we are not fast to catch up and to move into adapting with this new way of doing things, we will be surpassed by other people. It can be your competitor in the same market. or it can be someone else in another market that it becomes so fast compared to you that it will step over you entering your market. And for example, from the side of Cambodia, it's very important to have the ability to produce in Cambodia for Cambodians and for outsiders, not just to be a lender where other developed countries can come and invest, because otherwise we wanted to be the producer too. So that is very important, and there, of course, responsibilities on the education sector, on the public sector, etc. So again, I think if we wanted to measure the criticality of the implementation of AI, we can just look numbers and statistics of the market size of the implementation company that have implemented it, how many companies are new startup and companies are growing toward that. You can look also in investments. For example, the stock market, how much a specific market like the Nasdaq has been increasing a lot, means a lot of people invest into it. So that is where we should look in numbers, statistics to understand the criticality of the discussion.
So in this connection, what are the regulatory challenges and legal framework which each state needs to govern AI deployment in various industries? And may you point out the focus scenario of the opportunity and threats?
Sure. So, if this aspect is a very critical aspect and also very complicated. I've talked also with other colleagues, and I've seen also interviews of experts, and you can just look at the international regulatory body of it, and you see that technology is always faster than regulation. And that is the complicated aspect. It's impossible to stay ahead of technology, simply because you cannot regulate what is not yet there. But you can create a guideline. Now, in terms of AI, so again, remember one thing, AI, coming back to what I mentioned before, AI is just the technology, but it's fueled by data. So I think the regulation should be based on data. So what kind of data you use, how can you store, what data you can use, you cannot use, or you should ask permission for it, storage, data privacy. So all these aspects in terms of what we call data governance. That is where the main focus area is. Once you have regulated that, and currently Cambodia is doing that because for what I know, the Ministry of Post and Telecom have many regulations coming on. And the two famous are the one on cybersecurity and data privacy. That is where you need to act quick. And Cambodia is moving in that direction. The other aspect is monitoring and controlling the application. So once you specific amount of data regulate, you have a data governance. Now, what are the applications? So what are the usage you can actually do with this data? And for this, we are not yet there in Cambodia. But to be honest, we are not alone, because even in the world, it's very limited the number of ecosystems that have regulated somehow this. For example, the latest regulation, which is also the newest and the first ever of its type, it come up in European Union. European Union, it's been many consider it, I mean, we can argue about it, but it's been considered very good in regulation. It's always the one leading the way in introducing specific regulation. Example was the GDPR, and now it's the AI Act. It's the first real, to the best of my knowledge, is the first act on attempting to regulating AI and AI application. That was actually introduced in December 2023, if I'm not mistaken, but it should enter in effect, if I'm not mistaken, between May and July of this year. So we are April toward May. So it's going to, that period of months, it should enter and be effective. Once it's effective, means that companies need to comply. Now, just this is looking to this AI Act can be a good lesson. because maybe it will not be perfect, it's the first ever, but from there you can understand the successes and you can understand the limitation of it. But what the approach that the AI Act had was to define what is called tiers of risk, so level of risk. And they define 4 levels of risk, from unacceptable risk to minimal risk. The 4 levels are minimal risk, limited risk, high risk, and unacceptable risk. And depending on which application of AI you have, you can categorize in this level, in these tiers. And then based on that, you have to follow specific guidelines. You as the person or the organization that use this application, okay? So the 2 most interesting are the top high risk, so the unacceptable risk and the high risk. In terms of unacceptable, if that specific application fall under unacceptable, it's banned, so you cannot do it. You simply cannot do it. If it is instead under high risk, you can, but then the different organization will have to comply with specific requirements. Requirements like registering to a database under the European Union, like providing some degree of transparency on the data you store and how you use, be open and available to go under a specific control, a checkup, etc. So yes, you can use this high-risk application, but you will be under scrutiny of the specific body under the European Union that have the job to control you. And then you have the one limited risk and minimal risk, which it's more, just general AI regulation. You comply with the data, and it is considered, is deemed to not be dangerous, to bear minimal risk. So that is a good example, or a starting good example, a step toward regulating AI. The interesting part is to see how each application of AI and future application, because technology advanced, and future application will be categorized under this tier, under these levels. And then based on that, you will have to comply. I would suggest for those interested in learning about regulatory aspect of AI to learn about the AI Act, and also keep monitoring how its implementation develop and how effective it is. And then it will move. But that is a very interesting, I think, lesson and things to check with curiosity to see how it goes.
So on the other hand, we would like to know what are the risks that link with AI automation in terms of job displacement and economic inequality, especially the great powers reaction on that.
That is also a very interesting question, looking from a different perspective. So definitely AI bear risks, definitely. But I would say, maybe because I come from technology, so from that field, my standpoint, my view on this could be differently from other people, and that's fine, because actually we should always have an open discussion, looking different perspectives. But in my opinion, I think that it's good to have AI. It's good to let the technology run, and just trying to regulate it, but not limit it, just to regulate it, making sure that the technology can develop to the best of everyone, of us as citizens, of people, of company, of market, jobs market, etc. Just monitor it and regulate when we see things are slipping out from our hands. Now, in terms of job, yes, it's definitely there is a raising concern on job market and on jobs being stolen by by AI. So many people have this fear. My job will be taken. Now, some jobs already, some companies have started to lay out and delete some jobs because they can be actually being replaced by machines and by algorithm in a fast way. But to me, this is not the problem, I think. This is not the problem. The problem is rather what we are doing to adapt not to the cancellation, delete of jobs, rather what we are doing to adapt the people, so the skill force that we have, to the new job market. Because the job market is transforming. It has transformed over the year. The transformation has been always that. The only difference is that the transformation now is faster because technology makes things move faster. So we need to think faster, we need to adapt faster, we need to change faster. We need to be, software development, it's in the field of software development, the concept of agile has been there for a long time already. Software development, no, you need to be agile. You cannot start some project and after 1 year you will change. No, you need to be agile. You need to move, to adapt to the new framework, to the new technology, to the new requirements. You need to be fast. Problem is that people, and not because of the people itself, but also because of the ecosystem around them, cannot or are not able or sometimes don't want to change fast. They maybe are looking back to the older times, maybe where jobs were always the same or modified little during a lifespan. So you were doing pretty much similar things over the year. But now that cannot be anymore true. Things, for example, I finished my PhD in 2016, and things that I studied there are already outdated now. It's 7 years, right? 7 years. And things that I studied there nowadays are outdated, are not used anymore. If you talk about that, people will say, oh, what are you talking about? Now we are evolved. I studied the 3 and 4G. Now we are talking, there is research in 6G. The 5G is already implemented. Even in Cambodia, there have been tested already in 2019 5G. So this is not applicable everywhere at all, but it's been tested and can be run. So what I'm saying is this is the speed of how technology is moving. And once you implement the technology pretty much in every aspect of your life, every aspect of your life is moving fast, which means also jobs. Now, the difficult aspect is how can we prepare, how we can create an ecosystem that allow people that go to study and then go to a job to be ready for the job market, but even more to be able to have this, to adapt over time. So it's no more just, okay, I give you the skills. So you are someone that study, I tell you how to use this machine, and then I place you on the job market. You are ready to go. That's not enough. What I need to do, and this is where education play a fundamental role, what I need to do as educator, as an education system, is making you ready to learn, to adapt, to go outside, and you don't need any more me because you just learn by yourself. You don't need a teacher. Of course, with a teacher will be always, in terms of pedagogy, it's always you learn better, you learn faster, you are more efficient. But technically, you can learn by yourself, and you have the mindset. You have the mindset saying, I finish my bachelor degree, my associate degree, my professional training, whatever. Okay, good. Now I finish study. This is just the beginning of a new chapter of study, of learning. It's not the end. If we arrive to the mentality, I finish my bachelor degree, my years of learning are gone, now I can enjoy my working life, that's the wrongest approach someone can have nowadays. Because 1 year later, if you don't catch up with the new technology, with new software, new solution, new trends, you will be already outdated. And someone 1 year younger than you will be already better than you. So change in mindset is essential. And also adapt the syllabus and the curriculum and the training to the new trend. But for doing so, what is important is to equip the education system. Because if the education system do not have enough investment, no money, you cannot do much. If there is no investment, if you don't have infrastructure, if you don't have computer labs, if you don't have educators that are trained and can spend their time to follow students and to update themselves and to dedicate also to research and development, is simply not sustainable. You cannot hire someone. I give you a very last example. If you are in a university, you cannot hire someone that is expert and then tell this expert to work like crazy, to teach like crazy as much as you can, and don't give time to this expert to develop themselves. Because in 3 years, what he will be able to teach the student is something outdated. See the trick? So the concept is creating, shift the paradigm of education to something that is aligned to the speed of development of society. And that will be, I think, the major challenge. And if you are not good in making this shift, then you will fall short eventually. Sooner or later, you will fall short in your mission, let's say.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ricardo, for the comprehensive explanation on the above question. So, due to the time constraint, I would like to end our discussion here today, and we will continue to our last part of the topic next week.